Hello everybody and welcome back to part 37 of Citizen Sleeper. Let's go and spend these dice because time is ticking, but things have just started to feel a bit more manageable. But you never know what is going to be sprung onto us, so we are never gonna, what's it called? Oh man, there's a phrase, but like, you know, we're not gonna take for granted that we got this, because we might not have this, you never know. And we're still gonna have to make a choice in the end, but if we can make sure that we've done everything that we can possibly do to ensure that as many people can be as okay as possible, then I think we've done our job, regardless of what we choose. So, what we do right now is help with these dust houses. We need to put 5 good dice into this. We have 4 good dice here, so hold on, Intuit interface. I should check which ones of these give me things. So we know engineer does. Interface, double data, yeah. Oh, cryo, sorry there, it's here. Random scrap, cryo. Energy, engage. Engage is energy. Not endure, engage. Cryo and random scrap. Okay, so we just know to prioritize them, is all I'm checking that for. So then we've got none of them here, so let's just put it... No, that's not true. Cryo and interface, but you only get 5, so it doesn't really matter. But we can put them in interface. We can put the 5s in interface because it doesn't make a difference. Might as well pick up any money that we can get just in case we need to reinvest it. 2, 3. We'll put the 4 in Intuit. 4, and then we're gonna re-roll. Come on, 4 plus, 4 plus. I feel like these re-rolls are fixed. How many times can you re-roll into a 1? Fuck off 1. You're useless. Okay, I'm gonna use this on energy then. There's no point in spending it on anything else, I don't think. Because we're not too badly rushing right now. And it would just be a waste if I get a neutral outcome and only get 1 notch on the belt when I can just spend 1 dice and get 2 notches. So let's just use this on energy because this will get us 2. 2 guaranteed. We'll scrap up, we'll sleep, and tomorrow's the day. Scrap up. We sleep, and we're halfway through our time to the next flux, and we've done good work in that time, so... Well, them's some better dice, really. Although the 3 would have still been... the 3 would have been a kick in the teeth anyway, so... This is fine. We don't need to dwell on the past. Let's get this going. Greenhouses are ready. Hey, there's the cryo. Since you sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, the one where the plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces. The pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellowing lichal symbiotes. It is a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house's hiss open, and assuming it's Aki, you turn to greet her. Oh, mother! Oh, okay, well that noise that I just made was a big hug for her. Sleeper, I should have known you'd be here. Rico smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on this station. I'm not asking what you're doing, I'm yelling her name. Rico! Now, has it been so long? She smiles a wry smile. No need for any drama. I love her so much. Oh. I met some of the steppe refugees in the greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly. She smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see, and well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. I told you that Rico would be interested. I'm glad too. What does it mean, you know Aki? Like, yeah, she's literally just told us that. I'm glad too. I can see that. Rico limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Rico's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichal growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit, and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes, and I think I've decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange artificial changed remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle. She frowns. It blurs together. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that's time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles and a tear tracks down both cheeks. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I knew it. I already knew this was the decision she was gonna make. We couldn't we could ask her to leave. We could never expect her to leave. Again, she would have given her life for it back when she had more time, and now that she's old, she's choosing where she's retiring basically, and she's choosing where she's gonna die, and I respect that. It just makes so much sense to me. I don't like it. I think she could come here with us and maybe not help out with the physical work, but be a great asset. But I understand. She's made a choice. Again, I'm not happy about it. I don't want to guilt trip her. I don't want to make her have to explain herself anymore. But I also don't want it to seem like, if I just say I'll miss you, I don't want it to seem like I've accepted it just like that, you know? I want her to know that she is loved, and all that she's given to the world and to people is appreciated. So you could leave. Rico nods. You know, sleeper, when you get to my age, you stop thinking about what you could do and try to better understand why it is you act as you do. I know I will stay. I just need to understand it. She wipes her eyes and turns to you. But that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is what you're planning to do. I don't know. I might be staying, so this doesn't even have to be that emotional. Well, I mean, it is emotional regardless, talking of imminent mortality or whatever, but I don't know. Rico smiles. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper. Do you know what it is that drives us? Oh, to know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in a manner you know, but you also have to ask yourself, why is it so? She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Yeah. Oh, she suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She's looking after us to the bitter end. Because that solves my question about stabilizer. Rico is just the brightest gem. She looks down at her feet. And if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that at least. No, I'm thinking yes. I don't know if I'll need them. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Rico stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while. She calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around. She says it casually, but there's a note of finality in her speech. I think I like see you around. I might not be leaving. I don't like goodbyes. And never say never. Nothing is permanent. See you around. But I think that might be the last we see of her in the game. Whether we stay or not, like, as a character that we get to speak to. Don't know. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She looks through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look so happy together. She spots Rico with her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? More than that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the greenway. I should go and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? For now, I think. Aki sighs. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path, she smiles. A farewell from my world. I just said for now, I didn't say yes. But oh my god, that feels final. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. This one's gonna make me cry. She kneels beside the old botanist and you see her pointing to the clubheads, asking questions. You're unable to hear them, but despite that you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the clubheads, the greenway, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is... What? You turn, leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Oh, I've just said that. I've paced that sentence totally wrong. I'm sorry, but you probably know what it means. Butchered the final sentence there. Oh, Rico. come with us. If Rico goes, I will go. I'm not saying that if Rico stays, I will stay. But if Rico goes, I'm going. Because I guess when I'm saying I belong in the Greenway, what I really feel is like, I just feel like Rico is family. Like, legit family. I don't know why. She's just like, it just feels like she took us completely under her wing, and it just feels familial. In like a chosen family way as well. Like, she doesn't owe me anything, I don't owe her anything. It's just, it just fits, I don't know. So I guess we've just still got to do this. I'm not happy about their plan, I don't understand. I don't feel like it explained exactly well, but this is all that's left to do right now. I think. We've done all the other stuff, so just 6 more dice in here. And we can do a bunch of that right now. All in engineers, so maybe we'll get some scrap. So this is 3 dice immediately. Reroll that 3. Halfway there. Let's just see. Yeah, that could be neutral. We don't want neutral. We want 100% positive, please and thank you. Right, let's go and have a quick nap. And then wake up on a new day. Man, that got to me. I don't know. I just don't want to have to say goodbye, that's all. And yeah, I do know why it got to me, but yeah, it's just, it's funny how something, like to other people, that one might not have been super touching, but to me it was like, god dang. Let's end this one. Did that seem like a way slower fade than normal? Has something happened? Oh god. Did that sound like... Okay, maybe every day there's that chime sound that I heard. What are these dice? What are these? What is this? A joke? Because it sounds like a joke to me. Right. What I'm going to do... I am going to just take a look all the way down here. Because I just feel like I'm missing something. But nothing's coming up as new. I wonder if we'll get more interactions with the people that are left. Like my bar friend in Memphis. That's gone away. That's... yeah, this is all fine. What's her name? Tala. I want Tala to come. Empty container. Havenage. Officers. Yeah, nothing's new here. I just really felt like I'd forgotten something. We have so much data as well. We should sell all of that if we're gonna leave. We might as well take the space money. Okay, well, I guess we'll go and spend this 6 and then re-roll these 1s. And if they all re-roll as 1s, I'm 1 gonna be pissed, but 2 gonna go and put the lottery on. Because that would be wild. Engineer. See, I never get scrap. I get money so often from interface or whatever it's called, but I never get scrap. All we need is 1 more good dice. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, you can give us all the good dice. These are the ones that I wanted this entire time. And I don't know what happens after this. The docking axis is a little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking, has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Every arm not used for docking has been cut away. don't know. Why are they... I don't know. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now you are realizing you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, the shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too. The moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. Can we not get involved and tell Sol about this plan? That's what's pissing me off. There's no reason for us not to tell him. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice, perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones or to debate why they haven't left yet and whether they should. Among these singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you'll see the occasional refugee, a paying passenger, or a replacement engineer or pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the singers. It's pretty cool how, like, people are managing to join these different crews. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in with the singer crews, they will have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the Eye, setting out for the first time. That's a scary idea. Imagine being born and growing up on the Eye and then leaving. Like, could be exciting if there was places to go, but it just sounds horrifying to me. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axes with a crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Is it Eshi? Tala! No, Tala, don't do it! Tala, you freeze for a second. What's she doing here? Not this ship, any of the other ships. Not this one. Tala, no, don't break my heart. She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. We did all that work. Sleeper. Oh, well, I mean, I guess I can't say nothing about her running away. That's fine. Sleeper. Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without thinking. What are you doing here? She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper. She pauses. She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the starboard belt. She waits for your response nervously. Okay, I am going to say, why didn't you say? I'm not against her leaving. I'm against her leaving with this crew. That's all. These guys don't stand as much of a chance as the flotilla as a whole. Okay. Why didn't you say? She sighs. Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother? You think back to your blurred conversations in the back of the Bantian. He came here with me, with my family, when we were little. Just after we left Sinza. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the starboard belt. She sighs. I'm an idiot. She shakes her head. I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. That makes sense, or alone. Alone? She looks at you. I guess so. I really don't know if it makes sense, or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. How did you hear, or what happens to the bar? I don't think what happens to the bar is important right now. How did you hear? I work in a bar, she grins. I've heard every bit of gossip this place has to offer. Speaking of the Bantian, she meets your eye. Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. Are you leaving it to me? I mean, I can ask Francis. He'd be happy to, or one of the others, she blurts out. And of course, if you're leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes. It's no pressure. It's fine whichever way. I was just thinking... So I could run the bar. I'm not staying. Or okay, I'm just going with I'm not sure. I imagine that a lot of people will have made their choice by now. I still haven't. I'm not sure. Tala nods. She was sure. I mean, I just sprung it on you. But, she glances at the crew she was walking with, who are chatting a little away. There's not exactly much time. So, considering that, she grabs the key hanging round her neck, the key to the Bantian. Do you want to do it? God dang! I'm gonna have to say I can't. I need to make sure she gives the key to... Why is she not already giving it away if she's on a ship? I can't. I'm gonna say I can't. Because even if I do stay, I liked working in the bar. I liked helping her get it up and running. But I liked doing that with her. It wasn't my thing. And if I do stay, I'm living in the Greenway, not in the low end. Or even, it's not the low end, is it? It's before that. I can't. Oh, I hope this doesn't... She's already said she's just sprung it on us, so she can't be mad. I can't. Tala nods. I get it. She tucks the key around her neck inside her top. I always do this. Leave everything so late. Make decisions quickly so I can't change my mind. She kicks at her back. It's not on you. Yeah, but I do that a bit too. I get it. It's the only way to do things sometimes, because if you plan things too far in ahead, you just might not even do it. If you have too much of a chance to back out. She looks up smiling. If you are gonna leave, well, maybe we'll see each other out there. She looks out towards the stars. That'd be nice. Maybe once I find my brother. She stops herself. She looks back at you and smiles. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down the curve of the eye toward the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. She nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave if I hadn't made things work here. She adjusts the bag. Dad wouldn't have let me. Okay. See you around. I still don't know if I'm going to see you out there. I don't like goodbyes. See you around. She nods. Hope so. Then Tala turns, heading back to the crew, who will carry her to the starboard belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it's hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on that bright path. I mean, she would regret not going. I do think it's the right thing to go, I just not with these guys. You imagine yourself leaving, like Tala, unburdened perhaps, or maybe carrying new burdens. It's hard to tell. Either way, it will be time to decide soon enough. Like now, probably. Oh hey! That's 6 upgrade points. Let's just keep hold of them again for now. That's it. That's all we've got to do. There's nothing here. I guess if we sleep... Well, I mean, we'll spend our dice, and then if we sleep, we'll wake up tomorrow with more to do. Let's use our dice to get some more scrap then. Because we've only got 3 left. It's about time we stock up. We'll get another 3. Nothing will have changed here. There wasn't a noise to warn us. We can get some mushrooms though. Emphas isn't leaving, is he? Well, I didn't expect Tala to be going on there after everything we'd done. It's just a surprise. No judgment. But yeah. Right. Scrap, sleep, see where we're at. Hold on. Where's the scrap? I've gone straight past it. Here it is. Okay, well, we're gonna put one into endure. So we have enough for one more of these, but I'll just maybe interface. But we might as well just do this. I don't know if I'm wasting dice here, but I just can't see anything else to do. And we sleep, I guess. Could this be my last night here? Let's sleep in the dorm. I just don't know if we have to wait for the countdown to end. We'll see, I guess. Oops, that's not sleep. Now we sleep. Is nothing happening? I wholeheartedly expected something to happen. Right, I'm gonna take a thorough look through the entire eye, and then I'll edit out like the blank space, and then we might just have to waste some time. I'm not sure, but let me just go through everything and try and find anything new, and then I'll cut back in when I'm ready. Yeah, so I literally can't find anything. Like, I've just reread this. The next Flux event is coming and it can't be stopped. The sooner your preparations are complete, the better the outcome. So that makes me think we should be able to end it. And I'm just hoping that it's not glitched out. Because remember when it went a bit funny before? And I want to Google it, but I know that I'll get spoiled if I try and find out the answer. So I'm a little bit confused about what I should do. I don't know if I should just waste these days, which I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm just a bit concerned that something didn't unlock when it went a bit weird before, because it gave me it was when we were finding the core, it gave me we found the core before we even found the core. And then we still had to then find the core, and the next thing we have to do is connect the greenway, and Peak said we can't do it, too late, but I can't find a way to do it. So, you know, I feel like I'm gonna have to Google this. I'm really gonna try and not get anything spoiled, but I'll cut back in once I've done that. Okay, so what I've managed to find is not a lot, really. There's no walkthroughs online. It's wild. It's very difficult to find information about this DLC, and it's not like that new anymore, so I'm surprised. I found walkthroughs for the first DLC, but not for this chapter. So all I wanted to know was about whether we need to do this in advance, because what Peak did say, I ended up watching somebody else's video, like flicking through it just to try and find when they found the heart, the core, to see whether it went any differently. And what I mainly got from that was that Peak did mention we cannot reconnect the greenway until the flotilla are ready to leave, because it could affect them too. So I also read another thing, is that basically I believe the ending of the DLC is going to work in the same way as the rest of the game. So if we do end up with a choice, leave or stay, we should choose leave first, because then we can still come back and choose stay, which is what's happened with all of the previous endings. So I guess I don't need to feel super pressured about making that choice after all, because we can see both, like we have done for the rest of the game. And I will try and come to a decision beforehand, and then we can see whether it turns out that it was right or not. And I am more interested in seeing what happens both ways, as opposed to making a decision and sticking with it, because I just find it very interesting. I want to know what, like, if I choose to leave, which I could lean that way, when we're just not going to know what happens here, and I want to know. So this is the best of both worlds for me anyway. But we'll try and come to a conclusion before that, and all I can think is we just need to pass these days. And I don't know if there's any point in stocking up on anything. So I guess I'm just gonna scrap. I might as well, because there's nothing else to do. I looked through the entire station and I couldn't find anything. My drives are empty. Like, there's just nothing left. So might as well just look after look after ourselves as we can. And we're getting a shitload of scrap today, so because we had good dice. Of course we did. On the day we don't necessarily need it. Oh, you know what? We should also check Tala's place. I didn't actually go in and see if the text changed or anything like that. Right. Levantian. Tala is as good as her word and happy to throw you a shift or two your way. Okay, so that hasn't changed. I did notice that this is 1 day away, so we'll sleep over here. We'll wake up tomorrow. We'll buy some more scrap because might as well. Get nice and see. We're back to where we started with the DLC now with this amount of scrap. You never know. We might need it for repairs other than ourselves. Where's my bed? Here. You know what? This could be one of the last times we stay with the cat. So let's eat some Emphas food while we're here. Maybe let's build one of these ship mines as well. Just because we can sell it if we need. And when we still have enough separate ones too. And then now we sleep. Well, we can eat a scrap. And now we sleep, and we're just gonna do this 3 more times. So let's speed run. But then we're getting to an ending. Or both endings, so hold on to your seats. I guess. Oh, something's happening! Yes, finally! Oh, okay. Pig slate chirps in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection is ready. Meet me at Founder's Gap, Greenway side, Peak. You clench your jaw. It's time. Excellent. It's time. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I hope we don't need dice today because they're not great, but that's fine. We're meeting over here. Here. We're ready. We've got nothing left to do. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance to the docking tunnel for the Founder's Ferry. They are leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how different they looked from when you first met. There's a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidarity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word. Solid. Oh. Sleeper. They spot you and a small smile crosses their face. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else. The smile grows. Crunch time. They shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. Like, we're still not going to know if it works until the flux happens, right? But at least we'll know if the gardener's going to devour everything in the next few minutes. The break-in connection is up ahead. They walk away from the the break in the connection is up ahead, yeah. They walk away from the docking tunnel in a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate and a torchlight flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stopping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked into the eye when Soline collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Soline couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peak ducks through the fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines. So this place has always been on borrowed time. I've managed to weave together the old connections and run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile. Just like keeping those old XPR platforms running, Eshy would be proud, if she'd bothered to help. As Pete goes quiet, the corridor opens out into the wider, twisted passage, with compartments on either side with the thick wiring. Thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see where Peak has levered off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it snakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some huge exotic serpent. You did all this? Peak nods. It was an interesting challenge. Plus, it helped me keep my mind off things. Peak smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one, the ends separate, fitted with a multi-pin male and female connectors and braced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peak shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing the hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause. Or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. It isn't crazy. I don't think it is. It's the end of everything. Regardless, we have to try. It isn't crazy. Peak nods. I mean, I'm not being funny, Sleeper, but this whole thing is crazy to me. Peak shakes their head. Leaving Hawthorne with Eshy, joining the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the flux, the shadow, everything. They laugh a hollow laugh. So I suppose this is at least consistent with all that. They take a deep breath. Okay. They look at you with mild panic. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it closed. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed, and the connectors thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridor into the dark on both sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you're waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning or lurch on its axis? For the power to go out or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peak's eyes, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand to their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires, like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and writhes there, like liquid roots. Peak sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere. And now it is out, it can't be put back in, that much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil soaking up the gardener and their chorus, the gaps filling with a burbling, constant growing life. Peak stares at you, waiting for something. Anything. Gardener is free. Peak nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but words fail them. Yeah, what do you even say? Something has changed was also a good option, but I just thought I'd be a little more specific. Suddenly, Peak's slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process, but when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. What happened? Peak's mouth falls open. It's Eshy. They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they have turned away and are moving back up the passageway, back towards the entrance. Why is she gets on my nerves. Like, is she taking the ship? Peek. They don't turn, they don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by their slate torch, disappear rapidly around the corner. You take out the slate Peek gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around look like pale roots in the harsh light, and you turn away from them. They are gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Peek, panicked, running toward the cordon, realizing that their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they will be able to persuade Eshe to stay. If Eshe is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You are not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way back out into the lit corridors of the Founder's Ferry dock. Oh. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hands. Now, sleeper. No need to fear. He raises his eyebrows. I understand now. It was my mistake to try to force you. A miscalculation. Do I just stay silent here? And I don't want to goad him. I feel like we know why he's here. I'm gonna ask, why are you here? Good. Good. Questions are good. I shouldn't have said anything. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I am more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you here, sleeper. Castor stands to the side. But I wish to speak. I'm leaving. Don't want to speak to him. There is nothing Castor can say that you want to hear. He speaks for Senatstadt, and they have no hold on you. You approach Castor. As you approach, he speaks quietly, an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You're of great value, if you ever want to see that realized. Don't see me as a thing that has value. Fuck off. I am not an asset to you. I'm only an asset to the people I choose to be. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is his slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or just another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way. You are done with him. You head toward the cordon, Peek and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. It's funny that he didn't decide to just kidnap us just there. He could have. I wonder why. I don't suppose we're going to see him again. And that was our final chance to maybe get an ending there with him. I'm not sure. Or maybe he would want us to go with the flotilla and he would, you know, inject us again. Peek. Oh goodness, the flux is 3 days away. I'm so nervous. You arrive into chaos at the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed along the edge of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the Eye. The fear created by the flux event became a series of rumours, and those rumours have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the Eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You are unsure what you think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peek's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You are tired of these questions and instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot Peek and Eshe in the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowds, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear the voices over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them in their shuttle. You have made your decision, Peek, and it puts you against me. Why does it have to be this or that? Like in that... I'm not. I'll stop. Eshe is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp, while Peek argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene, but intimidated by Eshe's evident strength and attitude. Eshe, it doesn't have to be like this. Peak looks desperate, tear tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Eshe shakes her head. I've always protected you, Peak. I've taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. Okay, that's a fucking guilt trip. Fuck off, Eshe. I have chosen to stop running, Peak cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Eshe? Eshe turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne. What it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle, to live under the control of my mother, of the administration, to work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place, in the very same system, is any different. What is there here but the same grind? For other masters, for other employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles. There may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control. There is a power in action here. So what then? Peak shouts. You run from anyone or everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom? In search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Eshe, even if it is broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. Eshe paused and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We are both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Peak. You're free of me. What does that even mean? Fuck off. Go and leave. Eshe, please. They hold out a hand. There is a life here if you want it. Eshe turns and smiles at Peak, her eyes wet now too. Then you live it for me, Peak. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp, the evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lifts off and leaves the bay. Like, she's seeing it from her point of view as if Peak has chosen here over her, but she's not seeing it from the exact opposite, where Peak could see it as Eshe choosing to leave over them. So like, it goes both ways. This is just a disagreement. It's not even personal. And she was speaking about it as if it was personal. And it felt emotionally manipulative. I don't like her. I really don't like her. I think that Peak will have to, I don't know, maybe we do stay. We become besties with Peak. We move in with Rico. And, I don't know, live happily ever after. Yeah, so hold on, where we at? I'll just take a quick drink. The crowds are dispersing now, as they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them to reach Peak. Peak doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper, Eshe's gone. Oh, she chose to leave. You should go too. Stay silent. The thing is, Peak does not want to leave. You know? She chose, just like you chose to stay. She chose to leave. Peak nods. I've known her my whole life. They wipe their face, but since we arrived, we've been going different directions. That happens, that's the thing, that just happens. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Eshe well. I know that. Sleeper, the shout takes you by surprise. As you turn, you see Sol coming across the bay towards you, the last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as he does. I can't believe you'd make an old man run across the bay to get to you. He pauses to take a breath. The singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. Who could have thought? Why couldn't we have fucking told the guy? You smile as you think of Thala, safely cradled within one of those singer ships, on her way to the Starward Belt. Hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Thala. What are you smiling at? Sol interrupts your thoughts. They forced our hand. We have to leave now. Sol shakes his head. If we follow up close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spaces out there will give them a wide berth. I hate this. I don't understand why we didn't have an option to tell them, because we've known this for days, like a week nearly. Pilgrim Seed will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He pauses. Anyway, I didn't plod all the way over here to tell you that. Sol looks between you and Peak with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word, and I kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to take it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla behind the bay, beautiful in the light of Helion's sun. You think of the long journey to the Starward Belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here on the Eye, of Peak beside you, of the small shifts yet to come, and the routines that ground you, of promises and possibilities. And this is the choice. We're here, we're at the end. The end. The actual end. So, I think... I still kind of like leave. I mean, we're leaving first because that way we get to see both of the endings. If I leave for the possibilities and to try and outrun this corporation, right? Cast is still here. Fuck that guy, etc. If I stay, it's for the people, right? Although some of the people have left. But if I stay, it's like I said, we'll be Peak's bestie. We'll be able to live out the rest of Rico's days. We can try and continue making change in the way that we have been. Obviously providing that this actually works and the Eye doesn't just get destroyed. Honestly, what I would do, I would convince Peak to leave with me and leave. I think that's if I had to only pick one, that's what I think I would like to do. I think this is a sinking ship, and I would like to get off it at this point. We would be leaving some stuff behind, but it feels like time, you know? I think leave, but I would have, if I'd thought about it, I would have told Peak that they should have gone with Eshi. But I didn't want to say that either. I didn't want Peak to leave for Eshi. If Peak is leaving, Peak needs to have their own reason to leave. So if this was real, I would be having this conversation with Peak, where I'd be like, I've made my peace with everything here. I'm ready to go. Because there's this whole corporation thing. I want to leave. But, because maybe we can find another home somewhere else. And, like, you just think about the other ship with that ecosystem in it. That's just, like, the coolest thing. We would be an asset to the flotilla, for sure. It just seems that's where my heart is. We've already said goodbye to Rico, and that was the main thing for me. So, I would want Peak to come with me. So we're leaving. We're doing the leave anyway, because that's what we do first. But I think at this point, my choice is made if I had to. leave. Okay. Which I've said this multiple times already, I am utterly surprised about. After every other ending that we got, where I was so passionate about staying, it's funny how things change is all I can say. It's a very good display of how things change over time. Like thoughts and feelings and circumstances and everything. Life is ebbs and flows. It's wild. Let's leave. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm leaving. You say the words and they seem to carry your heart out of your mouth with them. You feel lightheaded, spinning as if you tumbled out of the bay into open space. Sol nods. Oh God. Sol nods. Come on then, let's go. You freeze for a moment, feeling Peak's presence beside you, and the moment to speak disappears. Okay, that's brutal though. We're just leaving them already crying, abandoned by everyone. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is terrible. Like I say, the only reason I would be doing this is if it hadn't worked out like this. I'm sorry or good luck. I'm sorry to be leaving right now. I also wish luck. I'm sorry. Peak shakes their head. I understand, Sleeper. They pause. I hope you find a home someday. I expected that to go a little differently there. And then you are walking with Sol across the bay, almost without trying, your step light and your head spinning. Sol grips your hand to help you up onto the shuttle ramp. As he does, you feel the thick texture of his worn hands in great detail. Just trying to look at this at the same time. Oh, it's doing a loop of the eye, I think. Sol grips your hand to help you up onto the shuttle ramp as he does. And as he does, you feel the thick texture of his worn hands in great detail, as if you were touching some cratered landscape. You grip them tightly as you get on board. There's the hub. That's the rest of it. As the ramp begins to close, you see Peak watching at a distance, their face half covered by their hair. You raise a hand in farewell, and as they do, you see something in their expression that you can't quite place. A sense of determination, perhaps, or a compressed anger, something that will drive them forward from this point on, to a future you can believe will be better. And then the shuttle ramp closes, and the metal box you are inside rumbles and tilts. Some of the evacuees with you screech at the sudden movement, but they settle as the ship carves its way out to the bay towards the flotilla. Out of the bay towards the flotilla. Towards whatever comes next. When you arrive there, you will find a berth, just as Sol promised, tucked in among hundreds of others, like a strange neighborhood of tiny flats. The communal canteens, the water supply, the farm stacks, these shared spaces will become the center of this new reality, the places where the stories are shared, where signals and messages from the ships of the system and the eye itself are interpreted and discussed. You will find yourself unable to resist listening into any conversation about the eye, any scrap of data or detail. Look at it zooming out. There's the gap towards the greenway. This is how you will hear that another flux event hit not long after the flotilla left, one that knocked out the power of the whole free spoke, they say, disconnecting the hub from the rim for many cycles, one that crippled many systems and cost many lives. But the flotilla, having departed with enough time, will outrun the flux, and you and all the evacuees will be thankful for this mercy. You will also hear of the strange growths that people started reporting around the station in the wake of this event. Fungal crusts that push through pipes and wiring. Rumours of the Eye going wild and fecund will quickly travel around the Pilgrim Seed, telling stories of a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. Oh dear. So the flux hit. It was bad, but not everyone survived, but they kept going. The gardener is spreading, it seems. As your long journey across the system becomes a dull routine of the same faces and places, you will delight to overhear that the Eye persists despite everything, that crippled systems are rebooted and replaced, that the new seasons of growth and decay will bring them a plenitude of resources and surprises. At least if the mushrooms are consistently growing, there's lots of food. You know? You will hear that Havenage's hardliners have fizzled out, losing their grip on the Havenage Council. In their wake, Helen will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havenage's overreach, returning them to the caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. And, after a long time, you will find the stories of the Eye become less the signals and messages And after a long time, you will find the stories of the Eye become less, the signals and messages fewer, I think maybe a comma in there, replaced instead by a new array of broadcasts, this time from Senate Stat, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. So the Eye itself survived the immediate issues, they kept going. But then over a long time, Senate Stat came in, which is why I decided I wanted to leave. These messages will set the rumour mill of Pilgrim Seed spinning, and you will rarely have a moment when you don't hear mention of that company and its claims. Occasionally on the long trip, you'll make a pilgrimage to the dust houses on a supply shuttle and gather club heads from among the mulch. You will talk to Aki as they are processed into stabilizer and hear of how the plants are changing, adapting, becoming ever intertwined in this new and unprecedented ecosystem. And then, in the final part of your journey, as you reach the far parts of the system where few signals travel, and the starward belt girds the system like a defensive ring, there will be distant reports of another fleet entering the system, under the banner of all too familiar Conway extractions. Another fleet. It's not Sidereal, is it? Conway. By the time this happens, you and the evacuees will begin to discuss these events less and less, perhaps in the hope of avoiding being implicated in the coming corporate war. Dang. And finally, one cycle, far from this moment, you will arrive at an asteroid port in the starward belt. One you have yet to know, and you and all the evacuees will be released into. In that moment, half a system and hundreds of cycles away from the Eye, you will think back on the time your time there with equal sadness and fondness, and then you will step out of the Pilgrim Seed never to return, and once more try to make a future for yourself that might be different to those false futures promised to you so many times. But for now, you remain on the shuttle, angling its way towards the base of Pilgrim Seed, carrying hopes of all who tremble quietly within it. And in this moment, you feel the Eye releases you, just as Eshi released Peak, and it feels so good. Cool. Oh, so they're gonna find it. Like, that was kind of showing what the future was gonna happen. They're gonna eventually get there, and it just sounds like kind of starting again from, like, on a new Eye, basically, because other fleets are coming from other corporations, probably going to try and take over wherever we go. which is exactly what's just happened on the eye anyway. You can't run from it, can you? It's good to hear that the eye survived, battered and bruised, but it kept going until we heard no more of it. But the other ending is maybe going to tell us a little more about that. But that was great. Yeah, I liked that a lot. I just I wish that Peak could have came with us, but at the same time, Peak probably helped single-handedly, like, or at least Peak and Feng probably worked together to ensure the eye's survival. And I don't know. I do wish Peak could have come with us, but Peak was right. We ran, and we've ran into the same scenario, except we're starting again. I didn't know if the Conway fleet it was talking about was a side reel. I can't remember how connected those two things were. But it would be cool if we met up with Lem and Ming. No, is that how they were called? But that's not how it's going to work, is it? Because it was going to take them a whole lot of time longer to get wherever they were going. Because we already know that Lem wouldn't make the trip. Or us. Oh, God, okay. Well, I like that. That was good. Let's continue to do the other ending if we can then. Because I'm very curious what would have happened if we stayed. It's only going to tell the same story from this perspective, right? I wonder if we'll hear any news about the flotilla or not. And just, I don't know if it's going to be bittersweet. It's probably going to make me cry. Maybe we'll be by Rico's side at the end. We'll see. But there's danger here is the thing. I mean, obviously there's the danger of the flux and all that, but the danger I'm thinking of is Castor, and I just can't stand that company that he's working for. Just taking their claim of space, like, fuck off. Okay, so we've loaded back in. The same thing is going to happen here. Oh, we should try and say to Peak, you should go and see if that changes anything. Yeah, you should go too. Let's see. But if this does change things, and if Peak does go, then I'm going to have to do the leave option again. Because if I'm staying, I want Peak to stay. I don't think this will change anything, but let's see. You should go too. Peak shakes their head. No, I'm sure now. They look out at the flotilla. This is the way it should be. They turn to face you. I'll miss the bride. Okay, so this is just cut back into where we were. And here is Sol. So we're gonna say our goodbyes now. I'm gonna stay. I'm staying. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. The actual final time this time. You have to be sure. I'm staying. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of it all seems to descend on you. You stumble a little and then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. Oh, that's funny because the idea of leaving was like the opposite. It didn't crush us. It like we went dizzy and stuff, whereas this time we were just like, whoa. You feel a tightness in your chest and a haze blurring your thoughts. That is anxiety. Sol nods. Good luck, he sighs. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. In the haze, his pitted and rough hands feel so real, so detailed that it grounds you. And then it is gone, and Sol goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder, and it grounds you once more. You turn to see Peak's bright eyes. Let's go, sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, Peak puts an arm around you and steers you toward the entrance to the bay. See, this is hard for both of us, I think. We can really have some solidarity here. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off and angles toward the flotilla. You don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Peak beside you, holding a little of your weight, and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you make, remind each other why it is important to keep going despite the moments when it seems impossible. You will keep each other going. Oh, I knew we were going to be best friends. What if they even become lovers? Why not? We've seen that before with that sleeper that had, well, I mean, that was a tragedy, but you know, the sleeper and the human fell in love. That support will be vital when the second flux event hits the eye, when it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion, when it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark or start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do, while the world seems to come apart around you. That's terrifying. And yet, somehow, the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that seem inexplicable to many, but to you and to Peak, they will signal the awakening of a new force within the station. And that new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measure. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the flux event, fungal crusts pushing through pipes and wiring. So this is definitely to do with the gardener. Did the gardener evolve again? The eye will go wild, yes, we had this word before, and thingy, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. I feel like then it shouldn't have told us this in the other ending, maybe. Because how would we even know that when we were on this ship? But never mind. I didn't realise they would repeat the description. There will be a strange and unsettling beauty to this paradigm shift, as the greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. Rico will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and until her final day, she will delight in the new mysteries of the eye and its gardener produce. And as this new era consolidates around the station, you will find yourself back in the rhythm of odd jobs and loose contracts, working to keep the eye running, and your own needs met. But now, many residents will call for you specifically, and before long you'll be known as a fixer, a helper, a friend to many. And on occasion, after a long shift at the Bantian, you will hear the sound of the stray mewling, and you will crumble up some food and sit and watch the cat eat, as if it is the only thing in your world that matters. Oh, how did I forget about the cat? However, into all this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Senate-Stat, frustrated by the eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the Eye will be punctuated by wide-channel broadcasts from Senate-Stat, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking claim on the system. Meanwhile, Havenage's hardliners will fizzle out. Okay, we heard about this one as well. Losing their grip on the Havenage Council, Helen will turn them into caretaker roles they have always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on, the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway Extractions, making counterclaims on assets within the Helian system, and many on the Eye will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debate in these political machinations as they tilt inexplorably towards a corporate war. And ever on the Eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by strange new growths, and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the helium system, descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and the smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They settle around you like a veil, and in time, it will be impossible to see the eye without seeing its many variants and versions, pasts and possible futures, and this masking of the world will mark your approaching end. And one cycle, far from now, that accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there is only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay, two figures born of crippled systems linked together, continuing despite your origins. And in this frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learned to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. Beautiful. Okay, and that's the ending where you stay. I'm trying to decide what I think. Like, I do like the fact that whether we stay or whether we go doesn't change the outcome of the eye. That's important. I wouldn't like if it rests on us whether the eye survives or not. Like, at least, I mean, maybe if we hadn't managed to set up the defense in time, it might have fallen, but we did, so like that part of it, yeah, fair enough. But just the decision to leave or stay, I'm glad that like just this one little cog isn't the thing that's gonna like make the eye fail because we chose to be selfish and leave or something like that. It's awesome to know that the course of history doesn't change. The flotilla will find the starship belt, I forgot what it's called, and the eye will continue because that's what it does. And I mean, it wouldn't always continue. It needs the people to enable it to continue, but as long as it has that, it keeps going. And I like that they are resistant, and it seems like the eye continues to be in our, like, to not be properly owned by any of the political people until our dying day. So that's something, I guess, for the next generation to deal with. But we seemed, I don't know if we would be happy. Because I don't know if we seemed happy enough. What I do like is it made me think back to the quote that it had about whether you see it as it's always going to be corrupted by its past, or whether it is, I've forgotten what the positive side of that was, but this really made it seem the other thing. It actually had both, right? It's corrupted by its corporate past because the corporate future is also corrupting it, like they're just assholes. But from the inside the eye, the thing that it's become, like especially just with the mushrooms growing everywhere, it's literally become, if you think of the greenway, that's the living ecosystem. The entire eye is becoming that now, and the greenway is special as hell. So now the entire eye is as special as hell, but within that we just managed to continue living how we have played this entire game, which is these odd jobs, meeting all of these people, helping them out, they help us back out, and just live a life like that. And if that is what you want, then that is, you can't ask for more, right? But I still think I actually am happy with the leave-in option more, because even though it did kind of feel like the cycle begins again, we make it to the eye, we now have to establish on there, it's all, going to be corrupt the same. It's not even going to have learned the same lessons as the previous place we've just been, as the eye did, because they weren't there. So it's all fresh again, and it's a challenge, but I guess it kind of depends where you're at. Both of them are appealing in their own ways. And it did kind of seem like the journey to get to the far place got monotonous, as well as, you know, maybe living on the eye gets monotonous as well. So I guess again it's just about the people. I like that like us and like Sleeper and Peak held each other up. It makes me sad to imagine how Peak coped when we left, because there was no one to hold them up at that point. But they must have coped, I think, because I do think they will have made a big difference to the eye survival. Like, not all of the difference, but a big difference. In fact, Peak made all of the difference, actually. If Peak didn't think about letting the gardener out, that eye would probably have fallen. So, yeah, I just feel so uncomfortable about how it's like dealing with the corporate stuff. There's nothing we can do about it. There's just not, except for be stubborn and survive, and that's the end of it. And it's frustrating. And I mean, it is I guess a bit of a good parallel of real life. Like, things aren't great in a lot of countries right now, I think. And so maybe what we can take from the game is to you know, stand up as much as we can, stand up for ourselves, stand up for what's right, help each other. I think that's an important one. And just, I don't know, just keep going. I think that's what I get from this. Just keep going, 'cause that's all you can do. And I think some of my favorite parts of the game was these explanations. I liked that at the end there, where it's saying, in the future we will get here and we will do this and we will do that, but for now we're on this ship heading towards it. I really like those descriptions, because there was one of those earlier too, it was more of just a montage if we went on the side reel. But I really like those montages. I guess I don't read all that much, but I don't think I've particularly read a montage like that in writing. So it worked surprisingly well for me. It was like I just wanted to read the next line and the next line immediately, and just, it was I felt in it. I could see it. I was watching it, you know. It was happening in front of my eyes, type of thing. So I think those were my favourite parts of writing in the game. Obviously Rico was my favourite character and friendship, but then also Peak climbed up there a bit as well by the end. I'm glad that Peak and Eshy separated. I think it needed to happen. It's what happens. They were brought together by circumstance, and that was kind of it. Like, they just had different goals, and that's fine. I still find it frustrating that I couldn't tell Sol about the other ship wanting to leave, but whatever, it is what it is. But otherwise, I don't know, I like the game a lot. It's one of those ones where, like, it's not top, like, it's not one of my favorite games of all time. It's not like if I have to recommend a game to someone to play, I'm not like, oh, you have to play this game. I'm not that excited about it, but what I have played, I've really, really enjoyed, and I could definitely recommend it to anyone who likes to read, who likes kind of space sci-fi, lo-fi sci-fi, but also heavy, light management, you know, just, there's definitely, I don't think it's for everyone, but it's definitely easy to recommend to some people, but not easy to recommend to everyone. But I mean, I guess what game is really, I just liked it a lot. That's mostly all I can say. I just liked it a whole lot. I had little gripes here and there, but I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. And It's, oh, like, it just kind of felt like a lot of stories kind of ended there and then. So that made it nice. Like, at first I thought, oh, maybe that's part of it, because that's what happens in real life. People don't stay in contact forever. Like, you know, you'll do things, you might have a significant time of someone's life and then never see them again. That's just real, and it's not something that you really get told about when you're younger, but it just happens. So I didn't like it from a story perspective in the way that I like closure. Not closure, but say we were still living on the Eye, we would probably still come across these people, so it would have been nice to see them saying things every now and again. But I think I see why they did that. Also, that would take a whole lot more resources to have people popping in more often. But they also then just kind of fixed that in that final DLC there, where we got to see a whole load more people. We got to say our goodbyes, and I think the reason that the goodbye with Rico also kind of almost made me cry as well was because I think I knew I wanted to leave in that moment. I must have. Like, I don't think I knew that I wanted to leave. But I knew she wasn't coming with us. And yeah, she had a very good relationship with the sleeper for me, and she had that motherly, grandmotherly kind of personality of like teaching and care and passion, and it was just also like relatable, and like that's the kind of relationship that's my favorite. So that's why she was my favorite character. Again, I loved a lot of the concepts that were brought up, like the science fiction concepts, particularly like the idea of the living what's it called? I was gonna say biosphere, that's not the word. Like the greenway. I can't think of what it's called. It's not atmosphere. The living, oh man, biodiversity. I can't remember what it's called, but you know what I mean. That was very interesting and made me really think and be like, whoa, that is a cool concept. I don't think I always fully understood a lot of the technology, not like the cloud stuff, but that's because it's not real, like if that makes sense, and I've not really come across that before. So it's like, as we've gone, it's made a lot more sense, but I'm not sure I fully understand how it feels and stuff like that. But again, that's because like how it feels to sleeper, and I know it got explained quite a bit, but that's because, again, how can you describe a feeling or a sense that doesn't actually exist? So I still enjoyed reading about it, is the point. And I just think all of these ideas were very cool, and none of them fell flat. The only thing that fell flat was just some of the relationships, I think. And just things happening off screen things seem to happen quite quickly sometimes because there wasn't a whole lot of screen time for some of the people. And I think that's the only kind of complaints that I have, really. Just, yeah, it was overall very, very good experience. I really enjoyed it. Hope that you guys enjoyed going along with it with me. And I have spoken for a long time now, so I will wrap this up now. I can't think of anything else to say to summarize. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the journey with me. I hope you were satisfied with either what I took away from it, my commentary and stuff like that, and the game itself. Hope you enjoyed getting to see all the endings. I'm glad we got to do all of the DLCs. And that is going to be it for this series. Please do, if you have enjoyed, don't hesitate to hang out, like stay with us. I will be doing more Let's Plays after this. I know they're a little sporadic in the way that my videos come out. It just depends when I get time to record, really. But if you look out on the community tab, I think I'm going to do a poll for the next game that I'm going to do, because I've got a few lined up, but I haven't decided what I'm going to jump into next yet. Because this is the final, like, I've run out of Game Pass, so as much as I want to do the other 12 days of Game Pass games, I just can't right now. I've got other games to play, so I will write up a post on the community tab about that. So do keep an eye out for that. Please subscribe if you would like to see more of my content. I also stream live on Twitch twice a week, and the VODs go up on YouTube as well. I do an indie showcase once a week where I play a different indie game. There's also lots of previous Let's Plays. Like, can't speak for the quality of them because I did a lot more Let's Playing years ago when I wasn't necessarily very confident with it. But, you know, they're there. The VODs, I think my VODs are a bit better than my old Let's Plays. But it's all there. It's all organised on the channel. So just search for a game that you like if you would like to. And you'll get to see a noob experience of it. But yes, please, and if you've enjoyed, please I think it's liking the first video of the series helps, but I don't know. I don't think I get enough engagement for that to really help. But yeah, just basically what I'm saying is I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to hang out more. We have a Discord too, so come chill if you would like. If not, it was very, very nice to be able to do this, and I hope that you enjoyed the series, and I'll see you around, eh? I think I'll see you around.